we have such a fabulous long agenda. So let's stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam Clerk, can we please have roll call?
Mayor Bachman. Mayor Pro Tem Knudsen. Trustee Smith. Present. Trustee Valentine. Trustee Stelter.
Here.
Trustee McInnes.
Here.
Trustee Schwartz.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, we can continue. Next thing is the approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
We approve the agenda as posted.
Second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes. Next is an announcement. So congratulations to Dennis Riken, 25 years as a town employee.
And there's his jacket.
And there's his jacket embroidered in town of Paonia.
It was a stage thing. It has to go below zero before he's gonna wear his
I
jacket.
made that really fun. I was like, I want one picture of you wearing it.
So,
I've never seen him in a jacket.
I know, I have,
or even long sleeves.
No,
I know.
not a sweatshirt.
He's amazing.
yeah.
He's
Always
amazing.
the t-shirt.
So,
We want to
Yay,
thank him,
Dennis.
thank him for everything.
right, absolutely. Thank him for all his service.
Yes.
And yeah, following up on his legacy is, in the police department.
Officer Henry, or investigator.
Investigator.
Yeah, Investigator Henry, who's 16 years at this point. So congratulations to both of them. And so, yes, so we have the annual Holiday Light Contest. Begins December 8th. So people should start decorating now, because Stefan's gonna give them a run for their money.
That's just so that picture right there is just the beginning.
It is.
The family is doing the judging.
I think what we're gonna try to do is have three of us be judges, and it'll be, if Ruben accepts, but it'll be myself, Ruben, and Matt.
Oh,
So
very
we'll have
cool.
Wonderful.
We're also working on different prizes. So in the past, you've kind of given like credits on water bills and things like that. I'm working on a gift basket for first and second with local businesses. So we're gonna hit up local businesses. We're talking like 10 or 20 bucks, or something like that. I already have a $50 gift card to Big B's that I wanted an auction for $45. So that's in the basket too. But there's gonna be some good prizes this year. We'll try to keep that up.
Is there enough weight and brain on your selection committee?
I think so.
What's that?
Yeah, we need the.
I'm a musician, trustee. I'm a musician.
A major cook.
I just don't have to do it.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
So, but that's coming up. We do have a couple other announcements as well that I kind of slid in here.
Okay.
But yeah, Dennis, 25 years. I did want to make mention that we do have the 31st annual, which is incredible, 31 years of Holiday Art Fair coming up Saturday, December 2nd from 10 to 4, right outside of Town Hall. And Town Hall is going to be the gingerbread making area this year. So that's kind of neat. School's doing it. And we donated things for the making the gingerbread. So. Ruben, there we go. And then again, I still want to say we are still picking up leaves. It's still happening. We couldn't do it on Monday because it was a little frozen, but people have put leaves out along 3rd again, and so we're still picking them up as we can. Can you just minimize that? There we go. You got to click back on the PowerPoint. There we go. Okay, and that is it for announcements.
Okay, does anyone else have an announcement?
Okay, so I'd like to announce two things that are kind of big deals for our community. One is Western Slope Conservation Center just got a almost $1.6 million grant from the BLM.
Oh, my God.
In partnership with North Fork Farmers Ditch Association, and it's to redo the head gate of the Farmers Ditch. So with the contract probably won't be signed and it'll take about a year to go through it, but that's underway. And then the other thing is, I don't think this has been announced yet, but our K-8 school just got a really prestigious award from Governor Polis of $50,000 because of their incredible science scores. There's only 16 schools in the state and Paonia was one of them.
Oh, okay.
Could you say?
Which school?
Paonia K-8.
And do you know what the 50,000 could go to?
Yeah, they're gonna, it's for science related things. They're starting a robotics program and I think some for outdoor ed. Megan, one of their teachers, told me the list and it's really incredible.
Congratulations to them and to WSCC as well. That's a wonderful.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks.
anything else from anybody? All right, seeing none, let's move on to public comment. Anyone want to address the board on something that's not under? I guess not. All right, moving on.
Is there anyone?
Make something up on the spot.
That's okay. No, we won't put the spotlight on you. All right. Next is consent agenda. Can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a second. All right, all in favor? Opposed? All right, that motion passes. Next is staff reports.
I do want to make a comment.
Yes, trustee
That,
Johnson.
if we order more than 5 dog tags, it's going to be a waste of money.
It's 100. We have plans.
We're starting at first. I know. I do have a comment, if I can, about the disbursements. We did pull a couple of bills out because I asked for more information. And so those are removed from the disbursements. It was, gosh, do you remember the two
Lasting impression.
lasting impressions? Because I paid that invoice from July with a credit card where I went. And so that's on the credit card instead of in this disbursements for a check. And the other one was for Robert's disposal. So those two have been removed. You'll see them probably at the 12th. Thank you.
All right, next up is Administrator Wynn for the departmental scorecard.
Okay, I gotta share my screen. Yes, Julie. Okay, so the departmental scorecard has been significantly updated. So my area has been updated as well. We are removing things as we move along. But you'll see that there's a lot more detail put in to show that, hey, things are moving along. It's not that it's just, one real easy step. There's multiple steps along the way. So for example, I am happy to report that we did get a release of our conservation trust funds. That should be soon. We are finally in compliance again, and we are allowed to accept conservation trust funds for 24. So all of those things have been finished in the DOLA portal, and through their formulaic reporting, we're on board with it. So everything's good with that. We're still working on ADP workforce software integration with Cassell. So ADP is up and running, but it's that final step that I don't know if it will be fully automated, but at the very least, we'll be able to download and import into our book of record all of our payrolls. So we're working on that with our third party, with Michelle from Professional Management Solutions. But things are moving forward, so it's wonderful. Sam got all of that ADP integration up and running, so that's why it's still on there. We're still that last step to put it into our general ledger. Our audit is moving forward. I did get a final trial balance. Or a preliminary trial balance over to our auditors and uploaded it through our secure portal. So Trustee Knudsen, you had asked, one of the auditors that you guys had looked at had this really remarkable portal that you could see things at.
It was a dashboard.
A dashboard. Hinkle has a similar dashboard, and we've been using that. But it's meant to do secure transfers, so that there's always an audit record of what's passing between the town and our auditors. So we're working with it. Our third party has been sending them things without the portal, and that's for their own records management. What I do after they've submitted it to the auditors is I put it into to that secure dashboard. And they're doing that because Professional Management Solutions is handling lots of audits for different clients as well. So That's why they're only doing an email. It's easier for them to track what's going on. But it's moving forward. And on that, we should be, I hate to say it, but we may have to have a special meeting after Christmas to accept the audit before the end of the year. So it's coming. Just be ready for that. If we say, hey, we're going to have one. So what's going on there? CDOT, our Revitalizing Main Streets grant, so that's at Safe Pathways for Paonia. It's the fifth and grand realignment. We've been working very closely with SGM. They're working towards that 30% set of drawings to get to CDOT for what's called an FIR. I can't remember what the acronym is for, but it's that initial review before we get to our 80% review and then final drawings. We're going to continue working through the winter, getting ready for to go out to bid for this construction to start late spring, early summer. Hopefully late summer or early summer. Policy reviews, purchasing, internal controls, and personnel. I did update this so you guys could see what we've been working on, and then I've put a timeline to it. I'm hoping to start the most important one I see as being our purchasing and internal controls. I'd like to have that done by March of next year, and then I'll go into personnel and start working on personnel policies with our department heads, hoping to have that done by June, the end of June next year. Those are policies that we'll have to implement as we go forward. There are a couple of personnel policies that I may update ahead of time, namely carrying over at least 40 hours of PTO into a next year. As exempt employees, we can not only sell back time, but we can carry over 40 hours, but our rank and file don't get to do that. And so one of the changes I'd like to make is carrying over 40 hours so that they're not so our employees aren't left with no time off at the first of the year. So that's one policy I'd like to see go through. Okay, ordinance for water companies, agreements with water companies. I did have one of our water companies come in and was very shocked, ask for a formal water agreement with us. And so our Nick is going to be working on a boilerplate for us so that we can negotiate some terms with that water company. I mean, I had an entire board of directors from this water company sitting around my conference table wanting a formalized agreement. So as they put it, they want to know what expectations are from them and what our expectations are. I thought that was fine. So we're going to work towards that. Our code rewrite, we just got informed yesterday that we did get the $25,000, and there's another grant that we're going to write a letter of intent for that we could use our DOLA funds and our funds as matching funds to make sure that our building code is updated as well. So that's, I'm sorry.
I had a question about that 25,000. I read that letter. We do not have to go to the taxpayers because of the potential severance tax, do we?
I don't believe so.
That was in the letter. Did you see that in that paragraph?
That's a big question.
Yeah, and I didn't know if you'd put it to Nick yet as.
I haven't.
Okay.
So
what about being severance taxes?
I'll send it to Nick.
It's like, really?
Okay, yeah, he's giving me the thumbs up. He's saying, I'll send it to Nick. So I'll have them review that. Our private use of public rights of way. So this is something that we've been enforcing. And so it requires a lease agreement if you're going to put a sandwich board out in front of on the sidewalk. Something like the farm supply store at the end of the street. They don't need to because they've got this. They're off of our public right of way, and they've got all of their stuff wholly contained within their property. That's fine. We're not charging for that, but there are some places that, for the most part, we've gotten compliance. There hasn't been much grumbling, but they are, people are complying with our request. It's $25 for the year per item. So, like clothes racks and things, it's $25 per year to be able to put that out on the sidewalk. Per item.
Every chair and table?
Correct.
Is being paid.
We have one or two kind of.
We have a few that went to the next level, but they have a deadline now.
To comply. And we've gotten, because of those letters, we've gotten compliance. So again, this is something that when it comes time for like the 4th of July and things, we're still working on those agreements with other groups. So trying to get compliance. Still want the flags up, but there's a path for that, right? Again, so this is the Chase Bank credit cards. I got really unfortunate news. I have to go to Chase Bank in person to verify that I am who I am. They need they need to verify face-to-face with the teller. They'll need the resolution that put me as the treasurer and removed the former treasurer so that I can gain access to this to finally close these cards out. To my understanding, we've paid the bills, but we still have the accounts open. I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna probably do that this week. And I've been informed, Telluride not the best one. We'll just go to Aspen. Weather looks good for the next 2 days, so I may be going to get up there and just do that.
Weather's turning Thursday midday.
That's what I've heard. So I may have to just do that to get it done. Return on unused items to SIPA. I didn't update this one. I still have 2 items that I have to return for that aren't going to work for what we're hoping for. These microphones up here are actually working. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we've removed the OWL microphones. And so the speaker phones that we had purchased, we need to return those. These are working. This is what everybody's hearing. So it's working. Let's see. Special events, of course, those are things that I'll work on for next year, hoping to have it done by the end of May. And then all of our grant reporting, I've been reporting, we are receiving funds in, or at least gotten confirmation that we're supposed to have an ACH payment from the state to reimburse us for things. I did get our Doris Avenue one kicked back because at the time I didn't have all of the canceled checks. I checked yesterday afternoon, and our checks for our engineers have finally cleared. And so I can use those canceled checks to show that we actually did pay them and we can get reimbursed.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we could have a table that is updated as needed, which has every grant that the town currently is working with. So that there's one place where people can see what our grants are. And I'm thinking, update the table with maybe major milestones. But I feel like we have at least 5 grants going on right now. And I think it'd be really nice to have one place where all the grants are presented.
Okay. So,
In kind of a simple table, but one that you could maybe put on your administrator's page.
yeah, so here, let me show you real quick what my grant portal looks like. Okay, okay, you can't see that. Okay, so I can do like something like this. This is all of our active grants that I'm doing reporting on. And so this is the DOLA grants portal, and we can do, I mean, this should be really simple to download and try to get out to folks. So we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ones. We now have our Paonia Comprehensive Code Revision and Assessment, our plan update, Doris Avenue, Housing Needs Assessment and Action Plan, and then our master plan. So,
But we also have the CWCB hydrogeology study. We also have
right.
river district
Right,
grant.
Yeah, that's what she's mentioned 2 years ago. It's not.
We actually have a couple more as
We've
well.
got a lot of.
Including CDOT's, which is on a different portal. But so these are the things that I can pull off and track.
Yeah, something like that would be great,
Okay,
to see it all in one place. Thank you.
of course. Ordinance for traffic schedules. I want to get that on the December 12th meeting as well. Just like a glutton for punishment. I'm a glutton for punishment, so. It is going to be a really, but these are all necessary for what we've budgeted for. to make sure that we're protecting our revenue and can continue to pay for projects that we have in the.
So maybe we could do a shift change during that meeting and 2 trustees can take a break.
You might want to bring your robes and slippers. Maybe a we are doing our Casella GL updates, going through our schedule of fees again. That'll be on that December 12th meeting as well. Utility rate increases will be on December 12th. Goodness, we've got a lot going on. So I did question why we're still doing meter books. And that's that manual reads. We do still have a handful of manual reads that we have to do. We are applying for a grant to help get rid of a very large chunk of those manual reads. Is Robert's Trailer Court? Is that Lee's Trailer Court? Where we've got a majority of them are still manual reads. We're trying to get a grant to help bring those meter pits up to the front of the properties and then not be in private property, but follow our easements. So that's why we're still doing some meter books. Let's see. Department heads have been updating all of their their departmental scorecards. Sam's been working on equipment surplus. We got a list of vehicles from Public Works that they'd like to surplus next year. So we still have to buy the trucks before we can surplus the trucks because we still need something in service until we get something. She's been working on a lot of things, including how to code our new credit cards, the pay cards that we have. It should be a lot easier for us to kind of internally audit what's being spent and then code it easier so that it hits the general ledger in the right accounts instead of manually coding everything. It's on the person that is assigned that credit card. They're able to log in and code where it needs to go and then snap a picture of the receipt. So there's a lot of things going on. We did put out liens. So there are some very seriously delinquent water bills and utility bills that are out there. And so liens did go out on properties. They were recorded. And I think that might be the first time in quite a while that we've put liens out, but we're doing it. So, I mean, when you've got a $1,500 water bill or more that has been paid in 150 days, because it just keeps adding up, we got to do something to collect that revenue back. A lot of them, we moved from tenants and said, hey, property owners, this is due. So we did that before liens were out. Again, Sam has been working really hard at getting those sidewalk permits, that public use of or private use of public rights of way under control and enforcing our code of ordinances. Public Works has been working on our asset plan. Again, that's all part of the capital improvement plan. You've seen the drafts. Those drafts are available online. I made sure that our capital improvement plan was put up with the drafts of our fiscal year 24 budget. So it is on our website. It's actually got really big and covers the entire page above our budget drafts. So people can, take a look at it and see where things are. There was a question about the Poulos Park statue. We had to wait for a police investigation to be finished before we knew if we could get it repaired. I think it came out that it was an accident, but there was no malice or ill intent. So it wasn't not graffiti, but vandalism. It was a true accident. So it will get repaired. And I think one of us needs to reach out to Mr. Fox to have it repaired. So see what he can do to fix it. It's currently sitting in the Public Works Director's office, out of the evidence locker. So we got it.
Thank you.
We are working on our lead service line inventory. Jeremiah has been really going through this. He did update this scorecard to show that. There's some minor pieces that are needed left for public records requests. but I think he's got a pretty good map of where all of our lead service lines are. So that's really good. We can, that's gonna be, I think, was it phase 3 of our, phase 1C of our water improvement plan. So. Again, these are all of our projects that are going on in water wastewater. The police department updated all of their projects, so this is different from last month. PD has updated all of the projects they've been working on. I did find out that our truck that was hit with significant hail damage while it was sitting in a lot in Inglewood to get outfitted. While there was like 40 different agencies that were all affected by this with CRSA, I did file a claim today because, just so that we know where it's at, because we do have significant hail damage, and it's in service, but not really. So it's like a light duty in service truck right now, because we're worried that we won't be able to get the claim and fit in the damage repaired. So I made sure that CRSA is fully aware that we want our claim to be heard and we want it repaired. So that was done. And we did take the truck with the damage, but it is outfitted. It lights up like a Christmas tree too. I did fill out our CDOT Revitalizing Main Streets grant. So this is, I did put like the grant funded capital improvement projects in this departmental scorecard so we can see where everything's at. Tonight you do have like the acceptance of that right-of-way acquisition from the school board that the Plan Commission also is approved. And so that's like all of this stuff is lining up for us to be able to get this project underway next year. There is one outstanding issue that's kind of strange. We had to put in a request for CDOT when CDOT gave the county possession of what used to be a county highway. There's some language in there that says they have to keep it in perpetuity and they can never transfer it to somebody else. CDOT is scouring their records to try to find out if that's going to be sufficient, or if they have to come back and say, no, county, you can give that to the town of Penelope. Hopefully they're going to say, yep, we've got it, we're good to go. So I just wanted to put it in there so you guys are aware that we are aware of it and we're working on it. Doris Avenue project closeout, I did put it out, put a reimbursement request, got kicked back, got to put the canceled checks in. And then I'm still going to ask, because there is a maximum for that grant that we can get. We didn't meet that maximum from our original request, but our bids came in higher and we had 2 change orders. I'm going to try to get it back or recover some of that. Hopefully they'll say yes to that. I don't know. Our hydrogeological study is out. It's on BidNet. It's live and active. I've had communication number 1 also posted for 3 questions. We have 3 very interested firms now that are going to submit something, and then over 40 that have downloaded the RFQ. And some of those firms I've worked with in the past in other states, they're phenomenal. So I think that we've got a good RFQ out, and we're going to get some pretty good proposals coming in. The first question, though, was kind of that I had to answer was like, what's your budget? I'm like, I'm not going to give that to you. You can go to our website. I'm not going to do the work for you. So I told that, I said, here's where you can find it. And it's really easy to navigate. So we'll see. But we do have 3 firms, and 2 of them I'm pretty excited about. So. Let's see. Housing needs assessment is done. I probably should have said I didn't close it out because we still have our 4th quarter reporting period for reimbursement. And once that's done and that grant is closed out, it'll say complete. Something else will be removed.
And then can we add on there like the action items that came from that? Because I feel like we were all in agreement that there are some things that we want to see happen next from that. And maybe that doesn't go on the scorecard. I just don't want to lose sight of it.
It should go on the scorecard.
Okay.
So yeah, what I can do is add it to the master plan, because one of those is we're gonna put that element into the master plan, so I can add that. And then there were some extra steps that we can say, yeah, of course, we can do that, that's easy. Phase one water improvements, this has been the thing that's taken a lot of our time, because it's probably the biggest issue that we're gonna face in 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, is our water improvement plan. And so that's phases 1, 2, and 3. And in phase 1, there are sub-phases as well that are all trying to be funded by the state water fund. So we're trying to keep track of everything that's going in, and we're working on it. So that's the end of the departmental scorecard, but you can see we really wanted to fill it out so that going into the end of the year and next year, we've got a pretty good plan on what's going to happen. So that's what I got.
For Mr. Nguyen. Yes.
I have a couple. Did the employee assistance program Triad come out and do presentations to employees?
They haven't.
They should have in October.
Triad doing an EIP presentation to employees. Did they do that? CEBT came out.
We have a new employee benefit that is in the rolling out process right now for an actual mental health module. That's what I'm getting from CEBT right now.
This is different.
Okay.
With our health insurance, what came along with it was an employee assistance program that's Triad based out of Grand Junction.
yeah.
And they said they would come down here in October. The reason I'm asking this is December is a stressful time for. And if employees know that there's mental health services, financial counseling, all those kind of things available for them for free through employee assistance program, it would be good for them to hear that before the holidays.
Actually, I'm sorry, because I came in and so I kind of misheard the thing. No, CEBT did come down. We did an all-staff meeting. They walked through each of those benefits, showed people how to log on to get them into the apps, how to access them, and gave them a really detailed amount. So we actually did have that in October. And she talked about, so they're on board with that. I actually have employees come to me and be like, okay, help me get on this app really quick because I need to do this. Our employees are using their stuff. They're aware is what I'm saying. They did, it wasn't Triad, it was WTC that came down, or WCW.
That isn't our vendor for counseling.
They are the person that will call. They're the ones that handle our claims and everything.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not missing something.
So I didn't attend that meeting. I was working our cash flow analysis, so I didn't know what was going on. So.
Second question, we got a letter, all of us, about the PFAS that happens with fire retardant, and that one of the ditch companies is putting in a request for Forest Service. I would like to see that on a future agenda, that we have a formal letter that we give to the Forest Service about fire retardant, especially by our springs. I'm sure Jeremiah is probably all over this. It might already be in our emergency plan.
Our hazard mitigation plan. Yeah. So PFAS, that we just finally had a final rule on that, but I believe it is in our hazard mitigation plan. So it was something that was considered. We actually attended a seminar on it in Rifle that was brought up, PFAS.
Right.
So
when Jeremiah and I were writing the hazard mitigation plan, the Vivian.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
So then the next step is informing the Forest Service formally, just like the ditch company has, so that we have a record of saying, hey, if there's a fire by our springs, we want to.
Right. And so, I was going to ask the board during the mayor's report.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
Has to be for future agenda.
and then I didn't see anything for an RFQ for a water attorney. I think that should be on the department scorecard.
yeah, we're gonna do that at the first of the year.
Okay,
Yep.
great. And then I think that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board? All right, thank you very much. All right, let's move on to actions and presentations. First step is consideration of approval of resolution 17, 2023, opting out of certain elected and or appointed officials from workman's compensation.
So this is, we can't, this is so that like our committees and things, we're not paying workers' compensation for them. You don't still have to have workers' compensation. So, you know, we still pay for that, but this is to opt out of, it's what we've done every year. I just didn't know it needed a resolution, and Saoirse reminded me it needed a resolution, so the resolution is on the agenda today. This is so that committee members, we're not paying for workers' compensation for like our plan commission, for the unpaid appointed positions. Yeah, correct, the tree board as well.
Okay,
The airport advisory board.
comments from the public? All right, discussion, yes. Trustee Staley.
I have one thing to point out, and in the intro to this is being called workman's compensation and it's workers' compensation. I had a citizen, I said, oh, I didn't even pick up on that, but I noticed in our budget, it's called workman's compensation as well in that line item. I just happened to notice it when this came up. So just a little FYI. And then my other question is, if, and this would probably pertain to the tree board, if the tree board were actually doing something physical with trees somehow, would the volunteer insurance that we're carrying with Saoirse, they could sign a form and that could cover them if they would be in that sort of situation?
Correct, yeah, so all of our volunteers do have are insured for injury, personal injury. This is just,
Okay.
so because we're not paying a wage.
Okay, other thing from the board? All right, can I get a motion?
I move to approve resolution 17/2023.
All right.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes. All right, next is consideration of approval of amendment to Kelly PC's contract for legal services.
Okay, so there is going to be an increase of $22 an hour to $235 an hour for Kelly PC's attorney services. My staff report kind of lays out where all the budget, is coming from, what's all budgeted, and then if we continue on the reduced average monthly, we're going to have over budgeted, but that's fine. And so, what is it? I think it's based on the 39 hours average compared to the 24, we'd be saving about $3,500 a month. But we've budgeted for, I can barely read it, gosh darn it. 96,567.
No, 95.5.
95.5.
Yeah.
So we budgeted for 95.5, but it looks like we would be if we continue on that average, it's 67,680. So, but we still want to have that cushion in case there's something that comes up, somebody doesn't like water rates, whatever.
Comments from the public? All right, from the board.
No, I am so
Yes,
pleased.
trustee Knight.
Sorry. I just wanted to really express appreciation for Nick for the services we've gotten from him. It's been stellar. And he's taken a lot of grief from us as individuals from time to time and from the public, but he's handled it with aplomb. So thank you, Nick.
Yes, thank you very much.
I would agree, and I would like to second it, and for the trainings too that Nick has given us through this year have been absolutely wonderful and very beneficial. So thank you, Nick. You were worth every penny we paid. All right, can we get a motion?
I'd like to move that we accept the amended fee schedule for legal services as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes. All right. Consideration of approval for paying out prior sick leave to town employees.
Okay, so we have 2 employees that have been here for a long extended period of time. And so they've been through multiple iterations of our personnel policy and some of the benefits that we've offered. Because of that, there's like disparities between what we currently do and what was done in the past. And what we'd like to do is, and by the way, any unused sick time must be carried over as a liability year after year. And it's something that's on our book of record for audits. What we'd like to do is go clean going into 2024 and pay out the sick time that has been accrued by these two employees so that everybody is on the same page moving forward. We've already spoken with these employees and direct quote was so they were okay with being paid out for the sick time. The issue that we have is if we don't, and let's say they do, they've earned it at a, let's say that we don't pay it out and they retire in 2 years. We've got to book it until they retire as a liability. And we've got to keep track at what amount it was earned at and when it was no longer necessary. So what we're proposing is that we pay this out at the amount that it was earned at for both employees. And that looks to be just under $9,000 between the two. And one of them is the police department, so it's 100% out of the general fund. The good news is I submitted budget to actuals or a draft of budget to actuals, and the police department is under budget by about $250,000. They can afford it. So they can afford to pay this out this year. The other employee would be split up between multiple departments because he's a fixed allocation employee. And so we can cover that within those departments. So that, again, this is to help us go with a good, clean way forward in fiscal year 24.
All right, comments from the public? All right, board. Trustee Knudsen.
Sorry, I add stuff all the time. Extended meeting, but we had 2 administrative employees leave in the last couple of years, and we had to pay out their salaries. I want to make sure that the formulas we're using are consistent and that we're being fair. And I'm not implying that we're not going to be fair to them. I just want to make sure that the formula that was applied to the former town administrator and to the former finance director to pay out their sick leave when they left, we use similar kind of calculations for these employees.
Yes.
Good. You know what I'm getting at.
I do. Okay. All right, anything else from the board? All right, can I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve the payout and transfer of unused sick time for our 2 town employees.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes. All right, last, consideration of acceptance of the planning commission's recommendation to accept the right-of-way transfer from Delta County Schools to the town of Payonia for the 5th and grand realignment process.
This is a really long process for something very simple.
Yep.
But we're finally there. And so, Trustee Knudsen, before you leave, can you sign the actual Mylar copy as the Plan Commission president or chair? So these are things that are necessary for our CDOT project, but we have to the town has to formally accept them. And to do that, the Board of Trustees has to formally accept it. Plan Commission cannot do it. They can just recommend approval. So.
Okay. Christina?
Everything's so organized and great. What, there's no question.
Okay. Trustees?
It seems things have changed.
Yes.
I have a question about the 352 4th Street property. I don't quite understand what its relationship is to the 5th Street Grand.
Oh gosh, where is that in the package?
It's on page 29 and it's in the last paragraph of Nick's email. While the town will be able to acquire right-of-way along 352 4th Street from blank via this plat, because it concerns only the school district property, it might make sense to see if blank will be willing to dedicate right-of-way. I don't understand the relationship of this piece of property.
It's a private residence that extends all the way to the roadway, and there isn't a sidewalk there right now. It's not necessary for CDOT because it's out of the project limits, but it's a consideration that we could do. We may, the worst thing to do would be to condemn and just take. We can't do that and receive grant funding. So that's not what would be proposed. If we were to acquire it, we'd have to buy that from that private resident. But it's not necessary because it's outside of the project scope of work for this grant.
And this is something the school district recommended when we brought this to them.
Okay.
Because the piece that is necessary for the the realignment is along Fifth Avenue, it's along that curve on Fifth Avenue. But the school district wanted us to take this other piece at the bottom, but there is that one little chunk of private property that is outside of.
I believe there was a hair salon
Yeah,
there.
it's an old hair salon, it's got those great big trees that are growing right up against the curb.
So the point is, there's not enough right of way to pour sidewalk to make a continuous sidewalk there?
We have no right of way.
Yeah, we have no right.
Yeah, so we have to purchase it.
It's not in town limits either.
County.
It's county.
Oh, it's a little pocket?
No, this is on Fourth Street.
No,
This
it's,
is on the
Oh.
north side of Fourth Street is not in town.
So,
So anyway, okay, thank you, you
So
answered my
anyhow,
question, you
yeah.
go, huh?
but the good news is it's outside of the project scope of work, so it isn't affected by the CDOT grant.
Good, thank you.
okay, anything else from you, Tracy? Okay, can we get a motion?
Let's see, I would like to make a motion that we accept the planning commission's recommendation to accept the right-of-way transfer from Delta County Schools to the town of Paonia for the fifth and grand alignment process.
I'll second that.
Project, it should be project.
Oh, project.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes. All right, so I think the last piece is that Mr. Knudsen, trustee Knudsen brought up, is that we did have the letter from the Pitkin Mesa Pipeline. And I think probably first, second meeting in January, this should go on the agenda for the board to approve, to write a letter to the Forest Service as well.
Great.
Yes.
Can we plan to have a draft of that letter already written for that
Oh,
meeting? So we can, okay.
Yeah.
And I would also like to add in our letter, our boundaries of where we suspect our watershed is. Because there's quite a little area on Lamborn Mountain that it shouldn't catch fire, and they use fire retardant foam or fire retardant chemicals. We could end up with PFAS in our water.
Yes, we can do that. All right. Anything else? All right, well then, I am going to adjourn this meeting at 7:17.
Mentioned a mayor's report, was that,
Yes.
okay, just making sure.
Okay,
Oh, that's it.
that's it.
Wow.
I